Morning all, just another Switzer update on the markets, and got a bit of a shock on Saturday morning when Wall Street revealed, of course it was Friday afternoon there in Wall Street, that the job numbers were basically worse than expected. The economists expected 100,000 new jobs. In July, they got 73,000, but the big shock was the previous months, May and June, those numbers were just weirdly wrong, like missed by about 250,000 jobs. So the statistician basically said, we got it wrong in May and June. And Donald Trump's response was, hey, you're out of a job. He sacked the commissioner of the Labor Bureau of Statistics and announced it on Truth Social, probably before she actually heard it herself. And this has set up the US this week for a real battle between Donald Trump and Jerome Powell over the interest rate cuts Trump's been demanding and Powell hasn't been delivering. But Powell would just simply say, well, I believe the labour market numbers, and these revisions are a bit of a shock to me as well. The bottom line is, given the fact that Trump's been fairly reasonable on tariffs, I was expecting to be putting money to work this week for myself and for my clients, my financial planning clients. But I'll be holding back, waiting to see what the US economic data tells me over the week. You've got factory orders, you've got purchasing managing index numbers. All these would give us an idea whether the US is actually heading towards recession. These labour market figures basically are saying a recession's a real chance. Now, if that's the case, the stock market will fall. And so our market, as I say, is expected to open up 30 points down today, but it will be worse if Dow futures around lunchtime come on board and tell us that the US market is much more nervous after considering those numbers over the weekend, those labour market numbers. So that's the big story for this week. Keep your fingers crossed that these labour statistics are actually an aberration and are not really telling the true story. But there are plenty out there saying this is the consequences of Donald Trump's tariffs. Spooking businesses, they're laying off workers, and as a consequence, this could be a real challenge for the US economy. Well, that's me. I'm off for a walk. Talk to you tomorrow.